Sure.
Okay, well, thank you for, again, doing this for me. You're super awesome, and there wasn't a whole lot of offers, so this is perfect. So
No,
what did you think?
I honestly, today has been a long day for me because of teaching and visiting your class and going to some meetings, but to be honest, it was very refreshing for me to go to your class. For one, to see you in action, and I think so highly of you, and see you in action. And the other thing is, we have so many kids in common. We have 12 out of 16.
Oh, you saw them in
there? Yeah, in common. It was really nice to see them in a different light.
Excellent.
So I want to just address your focus questions. One was, I'll begin with the easy ones. Whether or not students feel comfortable asking questions and giving their opinions in your class. Absolutely and without a doubt. There was not a single student in your class, whether they were vocal or a little more introverted, who I felt couldn't have spoken if they wanted to, and most of them did anyway. So that comfort level is there, and I think because of the relationship you have built with your own students, and I think it comes from the relationship. Yeah, absolutely. Your second question, the focus question is on engagement. And related, you had another focus question on whether or not students were engaged while watching more or listening to the conversation more. And I want to address both at the same time. Overall, students were engaged. Whether they were listening and watching, or whether you were running the show, or whether or not they were running the show, they were engaged. There was a moment in all of these pieces where some of them become disengaged when the activity took longer than perhaps it should in their minds. Now, granted, I was really fascinated by your ability to change activities within, I was looking into time. It took you about 7-8 minutes to switch activities, and that's terrific, especially for 10th graders. They do need change of activities to stay focused. But even in those little blocks of time, almost at the very end, some kids were disengaged. Some of it is because I know those kids, who don't necessarily pay attention anyway. But some of them, okay, I need something else, kind of. So I don't think it was an issue of whether or not they were watching or engaged in the conversation. There were a few moments where I felt your students were completely engaged. And that is when passion, which happened a lot, by the way, passion out of you came out. Many times you gave excerpts of your own stories. They were like satellites. Everybody was with open ears. They were really focused when you either shared something personal or even physically, you were passionate. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I watch this and your hand movements, your gesture, your composure, they were completely focused. When those moments happened, and they happened probably about 6 times, I looked around, one by one. Even the least focused of your students was right on you. And it doesn't mean they were just giving you the eye contact. You could tell that they were lending their ears and they were listening. Early in the conversation about the think, pair, and share, it's a beautiful exercise, by the way, because it enables them to think for themselves first. Even though it was short, you had 30 seconds and then you had about 2 minutes or so, and then you had a good conversation, full engagement, active participation from students and you, of course. You also asked me whether or not you tend to go a little longer than you should. And I felt it sometimes. And there were many moments where I felt you asked some terrific questions, that the pause time was not long enough. So you gave about 1 second. You asked some, I forgot the questions, I wish I wrote them. You asked a few questions and you honestly wanted students' opinion. And then within 1 to 1.5 seconds, you gave your viewpoint, which is great. but it would have been enriched if you waited until kids give some feedback, even 1 or 2 kids.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I noticed.
Yeah,
It
I'm
wasn't
actually doing like a thing on wait time, and it should be like 7 seconds. I know that.
Yeah, studies show about 5 seconds
Yeah.
is optimal, because then you don't want to sit there in
Yeah.
silence for half an hour. 5 seconds is optimal, and it looks like eternity, but it's only 5 seconds,
Yeah.
and you get a lot of feedback from kids.
That's good. Thank you. That's
You're
good.
welcome. I'm just trying to be as honest as I can.
Perfect.
The other thing I wish, because you changed activities, I wish you came to a closure on the activity before you opened the other one, because you showed some really nice songs, and you told, because you did mention from the very start, I'm going to lecture you on this, which is great. It'll be nice to hear their viewpoints before you switch, because their viewpoints came in at the very beginning of the class when you had the think, pair, and share, and I wish it was sustained throughout. But probably, I mean, you had your own reasons. You had to roll out a project, and
So basically get more of their ideas about
Yes.
the song, yeah, makes sense.
yeah, I mean, you were terrific. Your kids are very attentive. They are very respectful of each other's opinion when they were early, when you guys were talking in Harkness style. It really speaks to you, Chris, to be honest, because without the relationship, without modeling, you wouldn't see that. And it's very rare to say. You think it's easy, but it's not. I mean, you have a culture that promotes engagement, comforts in talking, respect for each other's opinion, respect for you as a human being, and also as their teacher. And that speaks volumes, because you did a lot in about an hour that I was there.
Oh.
And I really loved your summary, by the way, even though, and I'm glad you actually went through the steps, the timeline. It's good for them to have the handouts. I love the fact, I never thought of this, the songs they listened to, that you and I grew up listening to, they were able to follow, and they made meaning of this. This speaks to my point about getting their opinion, because if they listen to the song, and they get your perspective, and they know the lyrics, it'd be interesting to know what they think, or how they would interpret some of these, right? But overall, I thought it was really terrific, and I was not surprised. I mean, I almost saw it coming, just the way you're very personable with the kids. And so these are my quick comments.
Well, I love the thing on wait time, particularly I'm writing on that. So I'll go back and think about that, and I know you're right. I just can't help myself.
Yeah, well, it happens to all of us,
Yeah.
because we are teachers,
Yeah,
and we feel comfortable speaking, and we forget. I know you're very aware of it, but I do it all the time. It's unbelievable. Sometimes I interrupt kids.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah, so it was great. It was really great, and it was very refreshing for me to see 12 out of 16, and you have 8 boys, 8 girls. And I was also paying attention to the level of participation from a gender standpoint.
What did you think?
It was equal. It was
really?
there. Yeah, they were all engaged.
Cool.
It was terrific. Yeah, I loved it.
Classic. Thank you. That's a big thing for me, the gender thing right there at the end. So that's gonna get me thinking.
You couldn't have asked for a better size. 8 and 8.
Classic.
Yeah.
Noradine, thanks, man. I know
You're
it's been a hectic day for you.
Oh, it's all
and
right.
I appreciate all that time in there. And
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant.